What's up everybody, it's your friendly neighborhood stock picker, Stock Picks by Tim, and I've got 5 stocks for you today that I'm going to look into, and I'll throw in a bonus one as well here. But first off, we're going to look at Bitcoin, and things have been definitely dropping over the last couple hours here. Now, if you're new to the channel, make sure you hit the like and subscribe, and ring the notification bell. I put out daily videos, and if you're returning, make sure you hit the like, I definitely appreciate it, and make sure you check out the links below for some free crypto and stocks. And let's start off the video here with Bitcoin. Now looking at Bitcoin on the chart here, you'll see the RSI is oversold, the MACD is still dropping, looks like it's about ready to curl though, and we are starting to see some buyers kick in here at this roughly 39,300. If we break 38,800 just about, we are going to be seeing this come down further, but over the last couple days we have been trading in this upward wedge pattern. Once we broke out of it, we just continued down, as you can see from this pattern, and we are bearish, dropping from all the EMAs now. And by the way, if we do break this 38,800, it's very likely that we might bounce off this trend line. So watch this trend line here. We might bounce off of roughly 37.4 to 37.7, depending on the time frame that we start dropping, if we do break this level. But you'll see it is a trend line that we established since mid-January. So watch out for that. I think that's the potential downside. As I've said in my last video, I don't think we're going to see the $20,000 range for Bitcoin. Maybe the mid 30s, maybe the low 30s. But if you haven't watched that video, I'll leave you guys a link at the end screen. And as you can assume, that since Bitcoin has been dropping, we've been seeing a hard drop in CleanSpark, and you would be right. We are now heavily oversold, and we honestly haven't been this oversold since mid-December. I see this long term as a great time to add to CleanSpark, and actually doing the math, looking at their mining updates over January, February, and March, I'd expect their earnings to be roughly in the $50 million range. They're about 46 million for those 3 months in terms of Bitcoin mining. And even if their energy side of things underperforms and they only get 4 million, they're looking at about 50 million in revenue, which is going to be a great increase over about 40 million in the previous quarter. So I'm very excited for CleanSpark's earnings, and look out for that. I will be covering that in a video here in the future. So make sure you stay tuned. That's going to be roughly around the 6th to the 7th of next month. And also their next mining update is coming out usually on the 3rd to the 4th. So definitely stick around for that. But you'll see with CleanSpark that we've just been continuing in this downward channel, and we're actually starting to break the downside of it. So this may become a resistance point. And remember, last time their earnings came out, right before that, we were in this $5 range. I personally don't expect to see it, but we might see a little more fear coming towards earnings. I expect though that next week we'll see a little bit of a recovery in these small caps. They've been definitely beaten down over the last couple weeks. And I mean months for that matter, but I mean seeing consistent just day after day of red. And I think next week we're going to see a nice turnaround. But that's it for CleanSpark. I know I love to ramble on and on about it. Now let's get into the next stock. Next up is going to be ChargePoint. This one I see as a fantastic time to add to it. I'm extremely bullish on ChargePoint on the long term. However, short term, we're very likely to continue downward if we can't hold this support level. We are definitely likely to fall further if we aren't able to hold this $14 area we are currently at. Roughly from about $14.50 to $14, we have a decent support level that previously was a resistance. If we in fact break 14, it's very likely that we could come down to the low 13s. However, we are getting near oversold on the RSI, so I think ChargePoint is going to start turning around very soon. I'm extremely bullish on it long term though. Their revenue has been steadily increasing, they're expanding into Europe, and we all know EVs are the future. And I'm extremely excited for their next earnings here. Next up is going to be Ford stock. And look out for this one because earnings is coming up. You might want to wait on that one. So with Ford, I'm personally looking for us to break this 1460 area because then we're going to be pushing lower lows. But for long term, I think under 15 is a pretty solid time to get in. I was in this one a long time ago, back when it was under $10. I sold some covered calls on my position, and they all triggered, and I made my money off this one, and I haven't looked back since. But now that this one's in the mid-teens, it is starting to look pretty interesting. But I will be watching Ford. I highly recommend you put it on your watch list. And next up is going to be AMD stock. And this one has been just continuing down, creating new lower lows. And it seems with this one, there's no end in sight. It's very possible we come down to 85. Although on the RSI, we are getting very oversold. It might push a little bit further. And this one has been great to trade on breakouts. Right when we broke this $100, that would have been a great breakout trade. And finding it as a resistance again and breaking lower levels. I'm extremely bullish, however, for the long term on AMD. And I think while it's under 100, it's a great time to average through on it. But keep an eye on this one. We may continue to create new lower lows. However, I personally think we are getting near a bottom. Next up is going to be Indi, INDI. I always like to talk about Indi Semiconductor usually when I talk about AMD. This one I'm extremely bullish on. It is my high conviction small cap semiconductor play. And looking at this one, you'll see it just does not break these lower levels. We've got buyers ready to purchase this one up every time it comes near these lows. And I think under 7 Indi is an absolute blessing. And stay tuned, Indi's earnings is coming out very soon as well, and I will be covering that one and giving you an update on it. Alright guys, I've got a bonus stock for you, and that's going to be TTCF Tattooed Chef. I think if you're looking long term, it is starting to look interesting under $10, but we are creating lower lows. I suggest you keep an eye on it, put it on your watch list if you don't have it on there yet. I know there's a lot of YouTubers that talk about this one, but I just wanted to mention this one as well. I think it seems interesting at this price. However, we are still bearish on the candles. RSI is nearing oversold. The MACD is still dropping, looking bearish as well. Keep an eye on it. I think next week we could have a little bit of a recovery and we may see a nice swing trade here. But that's it for today, guys. Thanks so much for watching, and until next time, take it easy.